There's one.
Right. He's a fighter.
Yeah, he's a fighter. Blue-winged olive, size 20. Come on over here.
Huh?
Come on over here.
Good size too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Beat up.
No. Hey. Yeah, he's a healthy looking fish. Still female. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike, the old fish hobo. You know, I answer a lot of questions, or I get a lot of questions. I try my best to answer them, but I get a lot of questions because that's who I am, a teacher of fly fishing. And one I get quite often, and I'm sure everybody has an opinion on this one, is who's better at fishing? The fly fisherman or the spin fisherman? Or who catches the most fish, spin fisherman or fly fisherman? And for me, this is a no-brainer. Fly fishermen catch more trout than spin fishermen. And the reason is because fly fishing is two things. So if you see somebody fly fishing on the river, you see that guy's fly fishing. Yeah, but he's doing one of two things. He's either dry fly fishing or he's nymph fishing, surface or subsurface. So right away we get the advantage because spin fishermen, if trout are feeding at the surface, there's nothing they can do to catch those trout. They're limited to subsurface fishing. They can throw a worm and a salmon egg or a lure through there all they want. Those trout are focused on the food at the surface, and they're being triggered by that food at the surface. So we're able to fish both those things where a spin fisherman can't. However, there's a little click to this, and that is this. I see spin fishermen being really good at subsurface fishing, every bit as good as a nymph fisherman can be. And the reason why I say this is because they just know how to do it. It's really easy. You just tie a hook on the end of your fly line or your spin line. You put a worm on it or a salmon egg on it, and you put a couple split shot on it, and you throw it out in the river, and it bounces down the river, and you catch a fish. It's a simple thing. Well, we don't do that in fly fishing. We take something that's really as simple as that, as tying on a nymph, putting a split shot on, or however you want to do it, and throwing it out in the river and letting it bounce down the river and catching a fish. It's the same basic concept, except we as fly fishermen, we have to overthink everything in subsurface. We overthink it. And we take something that's really simple to do, and we have 20 different ways to do it, all different types of fly rods, fly reels, all different kinds of fly lines, leaders, snaps, tippet rings, tags and droppers, and we have all these different ways to do it. And we take something and we overcomplicate it, and it's certainly overcomplicated to the fly fishing community, because which type of nymphing should I do then? Should I Euro nymph, American Euro nymph, French? Should I high stick? Should I use a strike indicator? Should I drop shot nymph? Should I tight line? What should I do? And you take something simple and you make it hard. In reality, fly fishing is quite a simple thing. In dry fly fishing, you want to trigger a strike. In nymph fishing, you want to put that nymph or salmon egg right in their grill. And that's the simplicity of fly fishing. So this is where the argument begins because you can interpret that in many different ways. I said fly fishing is simple. I didn't say it wasn't hard. I said it's simple, and we have to keep it into context. It's real simple. Those trout are feeding on blue-winged olives. This is a size 20, and they are triggered to take the natural. So the trout is triggered to take the natural blue-winged olive floating in, on, or just under the surface. So it's the simplicity of it is all we have to do is trigger that trout to take our blue-winged olive. That's a simple thing. The hard thing is sometimes that doesn't work because what you're putting out there doesn't trigger that strike, and there the complicated and the difficult things begin. However, you can still view this in many different ways. You could say, well, it's not that hard, but it is. It is hard and it is simple. And I know that sounds kind of oxymoronic, but the reality is in fly fishing, there's only two things that catch trout, and that's the fly and the fly rod. That's your ability to take a fly rod, cast it correctly and fundamentally correct, and deliver or present your fly to exactly where it needs to be in front of that trout. That's the whole rules with the fly rod. For some of us, that's a lifelong torture. The other is the fly. Well, the fly is more than just the statement of fly. It's etymology. 98% of what a trout eats during the season are aquatic insects, and what we do as fly fishermen, we try to imitate these aquatic insects in their winged and larval form, i.e. fly fishing. Yeah, and where we go wrong on that, okay, is we think we have the right fly, but we really don't. So when I'm talking about the fly and the fly rod, I'm saying you got to understand that fly matches a certain aquatic insect, and we have to be able to present that aquatic insect. And to understand flies, you first have to understand etymology, which is really not that hard. It's really not that difficult at all. There's only 4 aquatic insects basically that trout eat, and that's the mayfly, caddisfly, stonefly, and midge. The simplicity of it is when you see a fish at the surface feeding, it can only be feeding on one of those 4. And then if I already told you it's a blue-winged olive hatch, there you go. You should be able to handle that. So that's the simplicity of fly fishing. The argument against that is, well, the fly reel. You got to have a good fly reel. Or, you can say the fly line is really important, or you need this, or you need that. And all those things I consider just dotted lines, because if you don't have those 2 things, the correct fly and be able to handle a fly rod, then you're not going to do well in fly fishing. So in essence, if you look at it during a blue-winged olive hatch, if I'm fishing and you're fishing next to me and I'm catching all the trout and you're not, okay, it really boils down to I'm able to deliver the fly where it needs to go and I have the right fly, okay. So your inability to catch trout is you're either not able to deliver the fly where it needs to go, which is across the river 3 feet along the shoreline, or you're using the wrong fly. That's as simple as that. So your success or your failure during a hatch is dependent upon your ability to use the fly rod and choosing the right fly. So that's kind of how you kind of look at it, and it's one of these debatable things back and forth. I tend to look at fly fishing from a simple point of view. Certainly everything I've said on this video is opinionated, but it's opinionated by 40 years of teaching fly fishing and 60 years of fly fishing life, of being on the water. And I'm on the water 52 weeks of the year on some river somewhere. It's rare that I go back to the same river, and just under certain circumstances. So, but the key here is to not so much debate whether or not I'm right or wrong. That's really insignificant. to take a hard look at fly fishing and how we as fly fishermen tend to overcomplicate things. So in reality, what separates a non-fly fisherman from a fly fisherman is the fly and the fly rod. What separates a fly fisherman from a really good fly fisherman is the fly and the fly rod. What separates a really good fly fisherman from an exceptional fly fisherman is that exceptional fly fisherman has the ability to use the fly rod better than that other person and knows more about flies and etymology than that other one. So what separates an extraordinarily gifted fly fisherman from a master fly fisherman is the fly and the fly rod. So in the bottom analysis is what really separates a non-fly fisherman from a master fly fisherman is the fly and the fly rod. That's the simplicity of fly fishing. And I will tell you this, give me some comments. I'd like to hear your point of view on this. I'm certainly not the authority on a concept like this, but it's how I view things, and it gets you to think a little bit. Another way of saying it is, he who dies with the most flies always wins. I hope to see you on the river.